Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. My name is Masood. Today I'm going to talk about trying out new ideas in ELT. But before that, let's have a look at the table of contents. First, we're going to start with the introduction, then challenges in ELT. Later, we're going to talk about benefits of trying new ideas in ELT, examples of innovative practices, and finally, we're going to talk about strategies for implementation. Let's start with the introduction. Okay, as a student, most probably we had classes, subjects, or years we enjoyed less due to predictable lessons, boring lessons, and maybe because of some teachers who were not eager to teach. In this video, I'm going to share some new ideas I've experimented with in this class that I'm teaching. I'm in grade 6 students, and I got a perfect feedback from them. Let's move on to the next part. We need to find out what has already been done in this area. Okay, as we say, literature review. English language teaching, ELT, is a complex and multifaceted field, and as such, there is a need for constant innovation and willingness to try out new ideas to improve the teaching and learning experience for both the students and teachers. Brown, 2019. Incorporating novel approaches to ELT, such as the use of technology or innovative pedagogical techniques, can lead to increased student engagement and improved learning outcomes. Gordon, 2013. And finally, role play is an effective technique to animate the teaching and learning atmosphere, arouse to interests of learners, and make the language acquisition impressive. Liu and Ding, 2009. To the next slide, benefits of trying new ideas in ELT. But let's ask ourselves, what is in it for us? There are certainly some benefits of trying out new ideas in the ELT classrooms, such as increased students' motivation, improved learning outcomes, and personal and professional growth for educators. Of course, there are more to talk about, but in this video, I'm just going to talk about these three. Moving on to the next part, we need to know what are the challenges, or let's say current challenges in ELT regarding this topic. Predictable lessons and teacher burnout in ELT. Predictable lessons can be beneficial for teachers in ELT, but inconsistency in their implementation can lead to increased stress and inefficacy, ultimately impacting students' learning and teacher well-being. Teachers need to be intentional about cultivating consistent habits to effectively leverage the benefits of predictability. The second thing is resistance to change in methodologies and materials. Teachers may be hesitant to adopt new teaching methods and materials due to fear of failure or resistance to change. Student engagement is the last one that I'm going to mention here. Maintaining student engagement is a significant challenge in ELT, especially when dealing with diverse learning needs and language proficiency levels. So, innovative teaching strategies such as incorporating multimedia, gamification, or collaborative activities can help capture students' attention and promote active participation in the learning process. Now it's time to suggest you a solution. Of course, there are some pre-existing solutions out there, let's say on the internet, for example, YouTube, or in articles that are specifically working on this problem. I've decided to share my own solution for this problem. So the solution that I came up with the help of my student is a role play that we named it 25 years ago role play. Later I'm going to explain more what it is and how you can practice it if you want to in your own classrooms. So let's see. Strategies for implementation. So first I'm going to give you an introduction, then role play structure, which consists of roles, scenario description, participants, assignment, and role play execution. So let's go on with the introduction. Introduction. So the idea of 25 years ago role play came to me when a few days ago my students started complaining about this strict teacher that they have, and that how she is shouting at them, yelling at them, doesn't let them do anything in all their classes. So the idea came to my mind exactly when this student asked me that, teacher, was her teacher like this when she was a student? Well, certainly I have no idea how the teachers were like when they were students, but I asked them this question: do you know what it was like to be a student 25 years ago? You know, this was the first question I asked them. Then some of them raised hand and shared their, let's say, their parents and their grandparents' experiences about this and how strict their teachers were or not 25, 30, 40 years ago. So that was when I asked them, would you like to experience it? Because it is not as enjoyable as experiencing something, you know. So hearing is one thing, doing and experiencing is another thing. So they all agreed, and we decided to go on with this role play, and this is how we came up with this role play. And now that I'm just practicing it in every single grade 6 classes that I have. So let's go on with the next slide. Role play structure. So of course, like any other role plays, we need to know who the participants are. But before that, let's talk about the roles here. Of course, we've got the teachers and the students in this role, because who else could be there? The teacher is the famous one or the infamous one. Students are the favorite, least favorite, naughty, troublemaker, and the guard. So these are the names that we all came up with during the session. The teachers, let's talk about them. The famous teacher is the kind one, is the nice one, is the one who loves all the students and is never shouting at them. And on the other hand, students never break these teachers' hearts, and they're always doing their exercises. Their desks are always nice, clean, and clear and tidy. The books are always on the desk. So this is not the teacher they usually go for. It's interesting that they all prefer the infamous teacher that I'm going to tell you what kind of teacher it is. So this teacher is extremely strict, is not nice to all of the students. And on the other hand, this teacher, let's say, is having some favorite students in the class and also some least favorite students in the class, and also has got problem with some students. Well, I'll explain more later, okay? So when we get to the example part. Now that we know the roles, it's time to talk about the scenario description. So how is the lesson starting, what happens throughout the session, and how it ends. So the session starts with the guard standing by the door, the student that we named guard, standing by the door, peeping and waiting for the teacher to come. When the teacher is coming closer to the class, this child is supposed to shout in the class that teacher is coming, and everybody is supposed to quickly go back to their seats. As I said, desks must be clean, clear, no drawings on it, no, let's say, extra books or tools or, let's say, toys on their desks, only their students' book on the desk. So they're all waiting for the teacher. This is how the session starts. That throughout the session, the strict teacher or let's say the less strict one, the kind one, is entering the class and walking around the class, making sure that all the students are doing their exercises or participating in a lesson. So of course I know this part is the same as any other classes. Well, of course that's the purpose of this role play, to let them focus on the lesson and help them focus on the lesson as well. So this is what is going to happen throughout the session. As I said, later I'm going to explain what is exactly happening in one of the sessions so you can have a clear idea what it is like. And the session, let's say this role play, ends with the naughty student starting to, let's say, causing problems for the teacher, for the other students, like talking back to the teacher and disturbing other students. Well, this is the role that is given to that student on purpose to do that. So this is the fun part also that they love. I'm going to tell you more about it in the next slide. So now that we know the roles and we know the scenario and what it is like, let's talk about the participant assignment. So of course the teacher is going to be you, but it is going to be chosen by students. It is the students who decide what kind of a teacher is going to enter the class today. Then we go down through the list where we have got the students. Okay, so what kind of students going to be the favorite one or least favorite one? These two in my, let's say, role play is chosen by teacher, and it is going to be random, so students don't know this session that we're going with this role play who is going to be the teacher's favorite and who is not. So of course you know what it is like to have a favorite student in a class or least favorite. At least maybe when you were a student you experienced it and you've seen it. So next one is the troublemaker. That is the interesting part. That's where all the things get interesting. The troublemaker, or let's say the naughty student, is the one who is going to end the role play. So this student is picked by the teacher during the break time before entering the classroom. So you can imagine how students would run around the corridors to find the teacher and to ask the teacher to give them this role, because during the last 5 minutes, as I said, this child is going to disturb the others, and that's how the teacher is going to end the play, as I said before. Now the last one but not least is the guard, is the one who is standing by the door and has got the rule of bringing all the kids to the class or asking them to go to their seats and get ready. So that's about the participant assignment. Now I'm going to give you briefly an explanation of what happened in one of my classes, just briefly, not gonna take so much time of yours. Alright, role play in action. Okay, now let me give you one example. One of the classes that I entered, my students decided to have a strict teacher. As I said, this is their favorite. So I entered the class, all the students are in their own places, they are ready for the lesson, the desks are clear, the desks are clean, the English books are on the desk, opened on the certain page that we are going to study that day, except for a few students in a class that randomly are having an untidy desk, for example. I approach them and I say, what is this? Is this an English classroom or what? Why do you have so many books on your desk? Is this a bookshop or it's an English classroom? So I'll give you 10 seconds to clean and clear your desks, this classroom, and make it ready for an English class that I want to be in. 10, 9, 8. By the way, this is a very good skill when you're teaching young learners to give them time, like 5 seconds or 10 seconds for any tasks that you're assigning. So students would run around and collect everything and get the class ready for the play. So you would go on with the lesson, obviously, with what you have already planned to teach your students, with all the steps, all the activities, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So then we go with the last part of the lesson. Let's say the role play that you're going to finish this role play. It's the time that you are giving the signal to that naughty student that you picked during the break time before entering the classroom. Then this student would start, let's say, disturbing the others, just like acting, let's say, against the will of the teacher. You know how the naughty students are. They're free to do whatever to do, but no offensive words and all the other things, of course. So this role play ends when the teacher takes the student out to the vice principal or to the principal to deal with, and this is how the play ends. That makes this story, let's say, role play really interesting is the fact that students are sitting super quiet at the very beginning of lesson, the problem solved, and also what is more enjoyable for me and made me today to share it with you is that I came up with this idea with the help of my own students. So basically, if I want to finish this video, or let's say this presentation, I would say, why not? Let's listen to our students. Sometimes they are complaining about something. Listening to them and turning it into an activity in a class will make them really, let's say, active in the class, and will make them happy also in the class. And also, just like me, you may feel really good about it, that you came up with your own game. So of course there are so many other games that if I had time in this video I would have shared with you, but unfortunately time doesn't permit. So this is it, and you can see this is my name again and my email address, and if you want to ask me anything, if you want to share any ideas, I'll be super happy if you send me an email, or because I'm going to upload this one on YouTube, it would be great that if you leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day. Goodbye.